think it all depends on what their next melee pick will gonna be from Jacob, or if he is even gonna pick melee. Because if they already have two militated spears, so one is there to protect the infantry, the range units, the slingers, and the archer. So who's gonna protect like the javelins? Because there's like a distance between your archers and your javelins. Obviously, your javelins tend to be more at the front line than behind enemy lines. Like in front of enemy lines, I guess. Like the archers are.
I mean, I always say it: javelins protect themselves.
Yeah,
Who needs
but
infantry when you've got caltrops?
that is true. But we've already seen like many javelin players that are getting charged by Cav because like either they ran out of caltrops or they just didn't see it coming.
That's a good point.
We'll see.
So, do you think that Team 2 here, they still have the space to bring that surprise elephant pick by Jacob?
Hmm.
So I think it's still possible, right? They're
It is
not really
possible.
losing that much. Jacob can also play cavalry as well if he wants to fill that gap.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if like more cavalry would be better here. I would rather go for the elephants than for additional calf. And they actually have three, like if they pick Boudica there, they have three infantry players basically. They have two militiades and one Boudica. So that should be fine if you're talking about the front line and the protection of the range units. But maybe it's not enough. I mean, they have three, no, they have more range units. They have one, two, oh yeah, they have three range players.
Plus one
And
extra javelin.
yeah, plus one extra chaff. So
Possibly.
is one play, yeah, possibly. So is basically three infantry players enough to protect the archers and attack the enemy? I'm not sure. So I would either go for the elephants or for more infantry at this point.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Bear in mind, they do have the Miltiades as their front line currently in their setup. And again, I think that little bit of extra punching power from all of those elephants would really go a long way to open up the map, split up the enemy team, maybe route those Germanicuses while they're in vengeance, trying to get that cancelled as much as possible. Pelasgos does pick up the Ambiorix pick again. It was relatively kind of even for a long time, but then it seemed that Pelasgos and Sin started to come ahead in the ranged war. Can we expect the same thing to happen again? Or do you reckon if they do have a little bit more of an aggressive comp, Jumoxi will be able to have the space to shoot a little bit more aggressively?
So the problem that I see here is basically I know for a fact that Pelasgos and Sin are really good range players, and Ochu Moxie is as well. But I personally have never faced their mech on his archers. So I'm not sure if he is like on the same level. If he is, then it's kind of even, depends on who like makes the first mistake basically, or who makes the small mistakes and who is
And
not.
Jacob does lock in those elephant. I quite like the way that this is looking to be. They did bring Kinane pikes to follow those elephants in. So kind of, I called it. But hopefully those Kinane pikes can get in and be kind of a secondary threat in order to scatter the enemy troops, to force them to retreat. And one of the things you want to do with Germanicus is you want him to retreat, because once he's retreating, you can shoot him in the back and you've got no problems to worry about.
Yep, and I actually think it's the same setup that Team 2 is using that they used yesterday successfully 2 times in a row. Like they had Linux on Kunane Pikes, they had von Graf Zeppelin on his javelins and so on. So I would actually assume that Van Graaf and Jacob and one of those Miltiades spears is going for the flank again, like right side basically over the bridge to smash in the side of the enemy.
So if DOTL is capable, do you think another Jav pick here would be the correct move?
Let me see. One.
Because theoretically, they can deal with the elephants with what they've got. But I don't know if they can deal with both elephants and pikes.
Yeah, I would go for. They already have a Sulla on javelins. I would go for a Caesar with like 2 javelins or 1 sword, or just go full out 3 javelins on the Caesar. But I'm not sure if .L actually has javelins.
Yeah, I wonder. That's what it comes down to, unfortunately.
He has tier 8 javelins. And he has a 79% win chance on his tier 7 javelins. So maybe he
that's
will
what
go
we're
for that.
expecting to see.
Yeah. Let me check if he has Caesar as well. He actually has Caesar, and it is his most played commander as well. So we might see the Caesar challenge there. Yep. No. Maybe. He picked Caesar.
Okay, there we go. Javelins are coming out. So this is looking
Yeah.
to be a relatively even match by the looks of things, just from team composition point of view. It's really
It
going to
is.
come down to how well the teams play their respective strategies.
Indeed. And I'm not sure if Team 1 is aware of the strategy that Jacob used yesterday. If they are, then they have the advantage. But if they don't know what will happen, then there will be chaos for a moment or two. And I think it all comes down to if they can reorganize after Jacob smashed in one of their flanks with his elephants and the javelins and the Miltiades as his support,
I mean,
and how
looking at
fast
this,
they can recover.
yeah, looking at this and looking at this composition, I'm wondering if that's not the entire reason why they're bringing 2 javelins. Honestly, because if I remember correctly, the strategy worked yesterday because Jacob only was facing one group of javelins which he could target systematically, taking out the biggest advantage and throwing the team into chaos.
Mystery ready up.
Probably. I mean, they have the
I don't think
damage
Jacob was
now
actually
too.
playing elephants yesterday.
Hmm?
If we're talking about yesterday,
I don't think Jacob played elephants.
Yesterday on Rubicon, on a game that Foxy and I were casting, I'm pretty sure that he did twice.
Yeah, he did twice in a row.
Okay.
Same strategy.
Same strategy of just smashing into the javelins, which is really, really effective.
Which is partly why we were quite puzzled that he didn't go for that strategy the first time and instead decided to go for a very mobile but weak infantry comp.
Well, he does seem to have changed his mind.
So it looks like on this map of Rubicon, we have a very clear aggressor and a very clear defender. Both teams very much picking so in their team selection. I think it's one of the things which is going to come down to is how well they set up and when they decide to push, when they can see that movement, and if the Royal Peltasts allow any gaps through. Especially with that Kanane Pikes. I think the Kanane Pike follow-up is really going to determine whether or not the Royal Peltast can stabilize after that initial chaos that we're expecting.
Yep. And Great Khan again is on the right side. Fangraph is there as well, but Jacob might go there. Though he used to spawn closer to the right flank yesterday.
Yep. It's true that he's actually quite far, which is a bit surprising.
A very interesting tactic here by the Royal Pelter. A solid defensive tactic, something that people don't often think about. But you start out you deploy very spread out, and then you all come together. The logic of that being that the enemy team won't have time to really counter you or to get any proper rear charges in if the range is being properly protected. But what you do get is the ability to slightly scout out what the enemy are doing and which direction they're coming from. Gives you the option to collapse on pretty much any point in the map. And it looks like the point that they have decided to collapse around is the farm / their own base. Seeing that flag go up, giving them an indication that there might be something coming from that direction, but they really have no idea where the enemy are at the moment.
And at the same time, Jacob and his Miltiades and Javelins are pushing over the bridge on the right side, going either for the ninja cap or the flank, basically.
Russian Prince is going towards that direction in order to scout out, but he does see Buxity on there. He might get caught on Caltrops, but not quite. Russian Prince is going in for a charge. Nice charge there, but he does manage to get caught on the building. Might be able to follow up with the secondary charge, which is coming out of the shadows, and bam, massive charge there. Looks like the cavalry advantage originally will go to the Prussian Prince, and the javelins do come for the follow-up, and that is one unit out of the game. Now, they did get a glimpse, and they are pinging it right now of the elephant crossing the bridge. They are going to redeploy all of their ranged in order to try and deal with that, but the vision is very difficult to get in this particular area. Prussian Prince doing what he can in order to remedy that as much as possible, trying to find those elephants so that they can be in range of those archers and slingers. Meanwhile,
in the meantime, they are actually pushing across the river here. Team Sacred Band, the slingers, and Linux on his Kunanen pikes. So maybe they are trying to apply pressure on the enemy who is sitting in the base, at least to what they know.
Actually, I think that strategy of tactic of clumping up into one big blob can work really well. I've seen it work. If you can protect your range well enough and prevent elephants from being on top of your javelins, then that strategy can actually work and pay off.
Now, they have decided that the way that
the Prussian Prince getting a beautiful charge there on
really
Buncraft.
nice played there. Will he get punished for it? That is the question. I wonder if he'll be able to pull out. It looks like he'll at least be able to pull out with half of his unit. As
I mean, even just that route and taking out so much of these javelins, I think this is really...
We also see all 3 javelins and all 3 archers of the blue team being on top of those elephants, and one is already down.
Now the kite is underway. Lennox bringing in a really surprising flank there. He does manage to get phalanx down and is starting to chunk that really hard.
Now those elephants that are almost dead, now they can survive a little bit longer. Von Graf firing in his javelins as well. That's a huge punish.
The question is, will Royal Peltasts be able to recover from this? They're currently being shot in the back by the low health units of Jumoxi, and the cap has gone underway. It looks like Peltasts is going to have to turn around and do some decapping at some point in time. The second elephant has gone down.
However, the range pressure is enormous, not to mention Buxity.
Look at that cap, it's almost 80%. They need to find a decap now.
They have to get it right now. They do manage to get a decap, but they still have to keep shooting. Lennox is coming around with
Prussian
this
Prince also a nice charge into the base.
The answer.
There's more and more players getting inside the cap circle right there.
I wonder if this is another mistake though. Are they focusing on capping and not focusing enough on fighting? It does look like the Royal Peltasts have managed to stabilize. They have killed the elephant. They have managed to get rid of that pesky cavalry. There's nothing to really stop them shooting and decapping as much as they want at the moment, and they are starting to take the advantage. I think this has been a little bit of a mistake by the infantry here of the Sacred Band. When you are capping, you're not fighting, and if you're not fighting, your team are getting killed.
We can see all that range being picked off.
Prussian Prince still has plenty of decap potential, going in for a nice rear charge, uncontested, managing to clip the edge of Demek and his archers, and also pulling out with almost no punish whatsoever. Really nice play by Prussian Prince throughout this whole match.
Yeah, I think the Jacob's team overcommitted to the capping. It was a good strategy at first, but then it turned out after that one decap that it wasn't about it anymore. And with that many range units around, it never really could have worked.
So that's a little bit of a surprising result. I think most people were calling Jacob's team to come out favourites, but this is now the second match that they've lost. Mostly because of over-aggression, or untimely aggression, shall we say. Prussian Prince going in for a rear charge there, just to sort things out and end the match even quicker.
I would say it's actually misapplied aggression, because they applied a lot of aggression onto base cap. They put all their eggs into that basket, and it didn't pay out. It pay off.
Exactly. Instead of going for the surround, they went for the base cap, and unfortunately, those elephants just couldn't stay alive long enough to tie up those range and to force the lack of decap. And that looks like it is now GG. There's no more enemy on the field, I want to say.
Yeah,
No, it's just us.
just us. I think what they should have done there is apply more pressure on those ranged units when they were in the cap and push them away. The problem though is that 6 javelins and 3 archers and 3 slingers, it's really hard to push against it and apply pressure to actually force them away from their base so they aren't able to decap. I think
Made a
it was a
good
little bit
teams
of a...
wrong. Oops.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 2-0 to Royal Peltasts, but Royal Peltasts are blue, not red. The overlay is wrong again.
Royal Peltasts. For you, maybe.
Yeah. They just take it down in disgrace.
In the meantime, I just did our giveaway. Surprisingly, a lot of votes were in favor of Jacob's team, leaving only 3 candidates for Bastard.
Yeah, I would like to see them come back from 0 to at least win 1 battle. And
I mean, it's
they are
definitely
definitely
possible.
capable.
They definitely do have the capability to do so. It's just been twice now, aggression, like you've said properly, misapplied into the wrong direction, and it's been 2 wrong directions now, which have really cost them these last couple of games.
Yep. They still have a chance though, but it is really hard now. They have to win 3 matches in a row.
And we are changing map, I believe.
Are changing, so maybe that'll be maybe that'll shake things up enough to give Jacob's team a win.
Maybe it's Salernum, which is a decent map. It's not a new map, so there's like enough experience on it. Not like with Oasis or
Or Capua.
yeah, or Kappa.
Kappa.
Kappa's a great map.
Capua.
It is. No you.
No, you're great.
Ah.
Oh.
Let's see if my create game works this time.
I am starving, by the way, guys. Do we have a break plan at any point?
Should we?
Or should I borrow some of Kiwi's pickles?
I literally ate them all.
I mean, we can have a break after the semi-final, and then we'll cast final and 3rd place match simultaneously.
Great.
So we'll see how long this semi-final goes, because it can either end after this battle or can end after 3 battles. So it's hard to now announce an hour when the break will be over.